Hello, welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am your host, Josh Davis, also known as Crash. Today is Saturday, January 13th, 2024, and we are here to go over Wildcard Weekend in the NFL, covering Saturday and Sunday slates. I didn't have the Monday slate prepared because it was originally just going to be the Tampa Bay-Philadelphia game. And when they moved the Buffalo to Pittsburgh game, it was kind of too late. I had already done all my prep work. So we're just going to cover the Saturday and the Sunday games today. With that being said, if you're new to the channel, if you would give us a like and then hit the subscribe button. After you've done those two things, if you would hit the alarm bell, that will let you know when our newest podcast has gone live. If you're new to DFS Coach Talk, we would love to have you join us. We have memberships that start as low as $4.99 a week. If you want to stay with us more long-term, we also have our NBA special. That is $49.99. It will get you the rest of of course, the NBA regular season, the NBA playoffs, the NBA finals, the rest of the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl, and then the first couple months of Major League Baseball, as well as any other sports that we may cover, PGA and NHL and whatnot. So, we don't cover those normally, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes if the other sports aren't playing, we will cover NHL, and then sometimes we have some PGA lineups from our good friend Doug. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We have the first game today in an hour and a half. It is the Cleveland Browns taking on the Houston Texans in Houston. No weather because they're indoors, so that's a good thing with all the weather we have going on this weekend in the NFL. Cleveland is a 2.5-point favorite on the road, minus 140 on the money line. The over-under is 45. Looks like we should have our inactives here, so let me refresh. Jerry Hughes, Nick Broker, Case Keenum, Eric Saubert, and Tier Tart are out for Houston. For Cleveland, don't quite have their inactives just yet. Next game is tonight, one of the bad weather games, Miami Dolphins in Kansas City, 8:10 p.m. Eastern. Forecast is -2 with up to a negative 30 wind chill. So this is going to be very brutal conditions for anyone. Actually, I have some friends that are going to be at this game, so I'm hoping that they're good and safe and have a lot of fun. But it's going to be pretty brutal. So I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. The over-under is 43.5. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes under that number. Kansas City is a 5-point favorite at home, minus 245 on the money line. And we move to Sunday. Green Bay Packers taking on the Dallas Cowboys at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Dallas is a 7-point favorite, minus 345 on the money line, 50.5 over-under. Indoors, no weather concerns. Next game is also indoors, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. The Los Angeles Rams taking on the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Detroit's a 3-point favorite at home, minus 165 on the money line. Highest over-under of the weekend at 52. Like I said, they're indoors, so there's no weather. Then we have the game that was moved to Monday. Pittsburgh Steelers at Buffalo Bills, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Buffalo is a 10-point favorite, largest favorite on this slate this weekend. Minus 550 on the money line, over-under of only 37. Forecast is 18 degrees, 16-mile-an-hour winds blowing to the southwest. Monday night. Philadelphia Eagles in Tampa taking on the Bucks. Philadelphia's a 3-point favorite on the road, minus 150 on the money line, 43 over under, 57% chance of rain, 67 degrees, 6-mile-an-hour winds blowing to the south. Let me hit refresh and see if we have the Browns inactives. We should. I'm going to find those real quick. See if we have any questions in the chat. Hey, King of all trades, what's going on? Derek, how's it going? All right, so the Browns inactives, we have Dustin Hopkins, Cedric Driscoll, Cedric Tillman, Pierre Strong, Khalif Halassi, Luke Whippler, and Isaiah McGuire. Denzel Ward is active, so that's the big thing there. Robert Woods is also active for Houston, and then Will Anderson and Jonathan Greenard are also active. So most people, for the most part, are playing as you would expect for a high-stakes playoff game. We're going to get into my favorite quarterbacks and all that here in just a second. Can't beat the Bay. I think you're a new member. I believe you're new. I haven't seen you here before. If you are, I am going to give away a free membership. So if you're the only new person here that hasn't seen our podcast before, then you will get it by default, but a free week's membership. So stay tuned. If you are the winner, then you will want to DM us on Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. And you can also email me, jpdavis1982@gmail.com. I'll confirm that, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be today's winner. So congratulations. All right. So let's see. Top quarterbacks for today. Today, I like Joe Flacco. He's 6,100 on DraftKings, 7,800 on Fanduel, $34 on Yahoo. Just looking at the weather for the other game today with Kansas City and Miami, I just think that Flacco's in the best spot. You have CJ Stroud on the other side, who's obviously been phenomenal this year, but he is going up against the Browns, who have the number 1 ranked pass defense. So I just like Flacco here. As crazy as that sounds, but he 2 weeks ago he threw for 368 passing yards. He did throw a couple of interceptions, but he's been doing that. But he still had a lot of fantasy points because he throws for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. He threw for 3 touchdowns that game for 29.8 DraftKings points. So I do like Joe Flacco today. I like CJ Stroud in tournaments if you want to go that route, but I do like Joe Flacco in cash. For Sunday, I like Matthew Stafford. He's 6,500 on DraftKings, 7,400 on FanDuel, $33 on Yahoo. Going back to Detroit to face his former team, the Lions, they've really been struggling with pass defense lately. They have allowed the 5th most fantasy points to quarterbacks on the year. But just looking at their last few games, they had 396 and 411 passing yards to Nick Mullins. They also had 345 Dak Prescott in between, which isn't as big of a deal. But if they're allowing that much, I just think that Stafford should have a big day. And they've been pretty good against the run, so I really like Stafford in this spot. For running back, I like Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's going to get, depending on what Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets, Pacheco should get like 20 to 25 carries today. It's really, really difficult to throw the ball in those kind of conditions, especially downfield. So I think that Pacheco should see a heavy workload. The Kansas City passing game has really struggled all year, especially with drops. And that cold weather, I promise you, is not going to help. It's going to be like catching a rock. So I do like Pacheco a lot. I also like Devon Achane for the same reason. With the weather and everything, I think Miami's passing game is going to be really slowed down. And Raheem Mostert is questionable with a knee and an ankle injury, so he's going to be dealing with that. So even if he does play, I think he'll be limited, and they'll rely more on Achane than Mostert. I also like Devin Singletary as a third option today. If you want to go to your flex spot, you can look at Singletary. I think he's in a decent spot against Cleveland. Tomorrow, I like Aaron Jones. He's 6,300 on DraftKings, 7,000 on FanDuel, $24 on Yahoo. Going up against the Cowboys, they have had a ton of success. Aaron Jones has had a ton of success against them in the past. He's had 3 straight 100-yard rushing games, including last week when he ran for 111 against the Bears' number 1 ranked run defense. In 3 career games against Dallas, he has averaged 34.1 DraftKings points. He's gone over 100 yards rushing in all 3 of those games. If we look at what he did last time they faced Dallas, which was last year at Lambeau, he had 24 carries for 138 yards rushing and a touchdown. So I think that they're going to rely on him pretty heavily, especially early, to kind of open up their passing game with a play-action pass. And Jones should have a really nice game. I'm going to have to let my dog out real quick, so I'll be back in just 1 second. I apologize. Come on, Moose. All right. I know we're doing this live. It's not recorded, so you guys get to see me let the dog out. But anyway, so wide receiver we're going to look at for today, Amari Cooper. He's 6,800 on DraftKings, 7,500 on Fanduel, $31 on Yahoo. I like pairing him up with Joe Flacco today. He had an unbelievable game the last time they faced Houston. He had 11 catches for 265 yards and 2 touchdowns for 54.5 DraftKings points. I think Houston's probably going to make some adjustments, obviously, not let him just have a ridiculous day like that again. But I still think that he has the highest ceiling of all the receivers today. Going up against Houston, they have the 23rd ranked pass defense this year. And if you want to look at another option for pay up, I do like Nico Collins on the opposite side. Like I said, the Browns do have the number 1 ranked pass defense, so that's tough. But there's not really anybody else I would pay up for at wide receiver given the weather in Kansas City today. Let me go ahead and take a look at the chat, see if we have any questions. Who let the dog out? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, boy from Cali. That's right. How's the weather over there in Cali today? Let's see. Wide receiver Sunday. Really, you have a bunch of good options to pay up for. You've got CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Puka Nacua. Really, any of them you can play. I think they're all in a good spot, good matchup. Diggs, you have to worry about a little bit with the weather, but outside of that, he's a good play too. I'm going to be fading CeeDee Lamb. I think he's just way too expensive, and it is a good matchup against the Packers, but they do have the 9th ranked pass defense. I think a lot of people forget that, but they've actually been pretty good. They slowed down Justin Jefferson and did pretty good against most of the top receivers this year. So wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. Dallas does have some other favorable matchups, but I will be fading Lamb mainly due to his price. And also I can get, both Puka and Cooper Kupp or both Amon-Ra St. Brown and Puka Nacua or something like that in my lineup versus just Lamb and some other, wide receiver 2s and 3s and stuff like that. So I do like any of those top 4 besides Lamb, which, like I said, I do like him too, but I just think that the best route is to use 2 of the top receivers instead of just 1. For me personally, I'm going to be pairing up both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua with Stafford. They could probably have some huge games against the Lions. They have allowed the 3rd most fantasy points to wide receivers this year, and they have the 2nd best defense against the run. The Lions do. So very pass-friendly defense. Stafford and the Rams receiver should have a really nice day. At tight end, today I like David Njoku. He's 5,600 on DraftKings, 7,000 on FanDuel, $27 on Yahoo. I think on most days it would be a lot tougher decision between him and Kelsey. But Kelsey hasn't been playing that great lately, and with the weather, it just made it a lot easier decision. And like I said, I do think Houston's going to adjust with how they're playing Cooper, so that's going to open up some opportunities for Njoku. And they also have allowed the 5th most fantasy points to tight ends this year. Houston has. So I do like Njoku. I think this is going to be a good matchup for him. The defense is going to be a little softer on him because of what they did to Cooper, what Cooper did to them last time. So yeah, I like David Njoku at tight end today. Tomorrow, Sam Laporta is going to be my top option. He's 6,000 on DraftKings, 7,000 on FanDuel, $21 on Yahoo. Earlier in the week, it was looking like he may not play. He hurt his knee last week against the Vikings. And so it was looking like he wasn't going to play, but I think he is going to play. So he'll be my top option. The Rams have allowed the 10th most fantasy points to tight ends this year. Laporta has had an unbelievable rookie year. He actually broke the rookie record for most receptions by a tight end, by a rookie with 82 last week. And he's also tied Rob Gronkowski for the most touchdowns by a rookie tight end with 10. So definitely like Laporta, good matchup for him at home. And then for defense, I like today the Browns against Houston. The Browns have been basically the top defense in the NFL this year besides the Ravens. And like I said, they're ranked number 1 against the pass. And then the Chiefs have also been really good, and they get the benefit of the weather too. So Browns and Chiefs defense today. Tomorrow, I like the Rams defense. And I also like the Bills. Now that game is going to be moved to Monday, so we'll say the Rams and Packers Cowboys. That's tough. That should be a higher scoring game. So I guess we'll just go with the Rams for defense tomorrow, and then on Monday the Bills. For my picks of the week, my lock of the week is going to be the Bills over Pittsburgh. Like I said, initially this was a Sunday game. Tomorrow, first game in the afternoon, but they moved it to Monday because of all the weather. So I still like that as my favorite play on the weekend. Buffalo over Pittsburgh straight up. And then for an upset, I like the Rams to cover +3 over Detroit. And then on Prizepicks, let me go ahead and take a look at the chat first. Okay. On Prizepicks, I like Isaiah Pacheco more than 65.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to see a ton of carries. Last time they played, he had 66, so it's right on the borderline there. But the weather, I think, is going to tilt this in his favor. He'll have more carries, have more opportunities, probably be some Miami defenders falling down on the wet field. It's going to be cold. It's really hard to run in that kind of condition. So as far as it's really hard to defend is what I meant to say, and tackle. So the next play is going to be Tua Tagovailoa less than 232.5 passing yards. He only had 193 the first time they played against Kansas City. The Chiefs have allowed the fourth fewest passing yards this year per game, and you have the brutal weather on top of it. I think Mahomes is going to go under on his passing yards too, but I like Tua even more to go under, so he's going to be my top play over Mahomes to go under in passing yards. And then tomorrow, my Prizepicks plays will be Aaron Jones more than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. He's had 7 touchdowns in 3 career games versus Dallas. A.J. Dillon is listed as doubtful. Green Bay has probably the most conservative training staff there is. So if he's listed as doubtful, he's out. He's not going to play. So Aaron Jones is going to get more opportunities in the goal line than he normally would. So I do like Aaron Jones. And then my last play is going to be Matthew Stafford more than 275.5 passing yards. He's gone over that number anyway in 4 of his last 5 games. And Detroit has allowed 345 or more passing yards in their last 3 games. So that's probably my favorite play this weekend. Matthew Stafford more than 275.5 passing yards. Anybody have any other questions? And can't beat the Bay? If you would, DM me at DFS Coach Talk, or you can email me, like I said, at jpdavis1982, jpdavis1982@gmail.com. Excuse me, that's my email address, jpdavis1982@gmail.com. Hit me up on there, and I will get you in our Discord for the next week. So you'll get all the NFL coverage as long as we can beat the deadline here. It's coming up pretty quick in about an hour or so. So go ahead and send me a DM or an email. I'll get you in our Discord, and we are a very family-friendly, very encouraging community. I think you'll love our group. You'll get there for a week, maybe a little longer, and we'd love to have you join us. So anybody else have any questions before we get out of here? Don't see any questions. So hope everybody has an awesome Saturday. Let's absolutely crush it with the NFL playoffs this year, starting this weekend with Wild Card Weekend. We'll be back again next week for the divisional round. Hope everybody has an awesome day, and we will continue to look to crush it in NFL, DFS, and Prizepicks. Thank you.